New York, the city that never sleeps, right? Well, turns out that saying took on a whole new meaning for me during a trip that left me questioning reality. So there I was, all excited to soak in the energy of the Big Apple. Booked a hotel that seemed pretty normal at first. The lobby had that generic hotel smell, and the room, though not Instagram worthy, was comfy enough. Little did I know, the second night would plunge me into a series of eerie events that I'd rather forget. The first night was what you'd expect in a typical hotel stay. They had comfy city sounds outside the window, and the faint hum of the AC doing its thing. All good, no red flags, though on the second night, things took a turn. I was drifting into that sweet spot between consciousness and dreamland when I was rudely interrupted by this rhythmic banging coming from the room next door. At first, I thought, okay, maybe they're just rearranging furniture or something. But as the minutes ticked by, the banging continued, and it wasn't sounding like any interior decorating I'd ever heard. I tried to shrug it off, burying my head under the pillow, but the noise persisted. It was like a slow, deliberate thud, almost as if someone was repeatedly slamming a heavy object against the wall. I remember checking the time. It was 2 a.m., and there I was, contemplating whether I should call the front desk or just endure the impromptu percussion concert. Sleep lost that night. I decided to chalk it up to the quirks of New York living. Night 3 rolled around, and guess what? The banging orchestra made a return. Now, I'm not one to jump to supernatural conclusions, but by this point, I was starting to feel a bit like the protagonist in a horror flick. I figured maybe it's a noisy neighbor, and maybe they work the night shift and their daytime is my nighttime. Annoying but plausible, right? By the fourth night, my sleep-deprived brain was ready to burst. I marched down to the front desk, sleep still clinging to my eyes, and mumbled something about the banging next door. The staff, probably used to disgruntled guests, nodded sympathetically and assured me they'd check it out. Later that day, after some much-needed exploration of the city, I returned to the hotel. The front desk staff greeted me with an apologetic smile, ready to share their findings. But here's where things took an unexpected turn. They informed me that the room next to mine had been empty for weeks. No guests, no banging, no explanation. I was skeptical, thinking maybe they misunderstood or were pulling some sort of hospitality prank on the exhausted tourist, but they were dead serious. The room next door, the source of my nightly serenade, had been vacant for longer than my stay. That's when the chill ran down my spine, and I felt like I was living in a Twilight Zone episode. The following night, I laid in bed, half expecting the banging to resume, but to my surprise, the room next door remained silent. Was it all in my head? Product of sleep deprivation and an overactive imagination. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off, like I had stumbled upon a mystery that refused to unravel. The rest of my time in New York was a mix of exploration and lingering unease. I visited iconic landmarks, savored street food, and caught a Broadway show, all while that lingering question about the mysterious banging persisted in the back of my mind. As I checked out of the hotel, I couldn't help but glance at the door of the supposedly empty room next to mine. A knot of curiosity and trepidation formed in my stomach. I never got an explanation for those eerie nights, and part of me wonders if the hotel staff had their own share of strange occurrences they chose to keep hush-hush. New York, the city of dreams and mysteries, had left me with an unexplained tale that still lingers in my memory. And as I stepped out into the bustling streets, the mystery of the banging in the empty room remained unsolved, an inexplicable footnote in my travel diary. Picture this: Morocco, the land of vibrant markets, desert landscapes, and the allure of ancient history. My wife and I decided to dive into the magic of Marrakesh, opting for a stay at a riad to soak in the authentic vibes. Little did I know, the mystique of Morocco would take a turn towards the eerie during one peculiar night. So, there we were, in this charming riad with intricate tile work, colorful fabrics, and the promise of an unforgettable Moroccan experience. The first night was nothing short of enchanting. The aroma of exotic spices lingered in the air, and the courtyard, adorned with lanterns, transported us to a different world. We'd hit the hay, tired but content, ready for the adventures that awaited us in the morning. Now, here's where the tale takes an unexpected twist. In the dead of the night, I was stirred from my slumber by the sensation of someone walking on the bed. At first, I figured it was my wife, perhaps seeking refuge from the unfamiliar surroundings. You know how it goes, the rustle of the sheets, the gentle steps. It all seemed so mundane in the dim glow of the red. Half asleep, I shifted, making room for her. But as I turned, the realization hit me like a bolt of lightning. My wife was sound asleep next to me. Panic set in as I registered the weight on the bed, the distinct impression of steps. My eyes, now wide open, scanned the room, searching for an explanation in the shadows. Nothing. Nada. Zilch. The red, bathed in moonlight, remained eerily still. The only sound was my rapid heartbeat, echoing in the quiet of the night. I turned to my wife, half expecting her to be pulling a prank. But there she lay, in blissful sleep, completely unaware of the bizarre encounter. As I wrestled with the surreal experience, a chill ran down my spine. The riad, which had felt like a haven, now harbored an unspoken mystery. Was it a trick of the mind, a product of exhaustion and the unfamiliar environment? I tried to brush it off, attributing it to the quirks of travel and an overactive imagination. The following day unfolded in a whirlwind of Moroccan adventures, wandering through bustling markets, sipping mint tea, and getting lost in the maze-like alleys of the Medina. The bizarre incident of the night before became a distant memory as we immersed ourselves in the beauty of Marrakesh. However, the sense of unease lingered beneath the surface, like a shadow waiting to re-emerge when night fell. The riad, though charming, now held a layer of uncertainty that cast a subtle pall over our stay. As darkness enveloped Marrakech once again, we returned to the riad, hopeful for a restful night. Yet, the moment my head hit the pillow, the memory of those phantom footsteps resurfaced. Call it curiosity or sheer nerves, but I found myself half anticipating a repeat performance. And sure enough, as the night embraced silence, the familiar sensation returned, the subtle, deliberate steps on the bed. This time I was wide awake, grappling with a reality that defied explanation. I lay there, paralyzed, acutely aware of the inexplicable presence in the room. In the hushed riad, I could almost hear the echoes of ancient tales, whispers of unseen forces that traversed the thin veil between worlds. The riad, with its ornate decor and intricate details, seemed to harbor secrets of its own, secrets that danced on the edge of perception. Morning arrived, and with it the facade of normalcy. Marrakech beckoned us once more, and we ventured into the vibrant chaos of the city, determined to leave the ghostly encounters behind. The bustling souks, the vibrant colors, and the rhythmic beat of drums in Jamaat el-Fna offered a stark contrast to the quiet mystery of the riad. As the day unfolded, the weird encounters of the previous nights began to feel like fragments of a dream, slipping away as the sun dipped below the horizon. Yet, as we returned to the riad for the final night, a lingering question hung in the air. What unseen presence had shared our bed in the depths of the Moroccan night? Sleep did eventually find me that night, but the riad's secrets remained veiled. With the first light of dawn, we bid farewell to Marrakesh, leaving behind the riad with its enchanting facade and the enigma that had woven itself into the fabric of our Moroccan adventure. As I reflect on that peculiar night in Marrakesh, the memory blends with the tales of the city's labyrinthine alleys and the echoes of its ancient history. Morocco, with its vibrant tapestry of experiences, had gifted us not just the magic of its streets, but a brush with the unknown, a tale to be retold, each retelling unraveling the new layer of the riad's mysterious allure. Alright, buckle up for a wild ride down memory lane. So, me and my best bud decide to embark on this road trip, and somewhere in the middle of nowhere, we stumble upon this quaint little motel. You know the kind, flickering neon sign, a handful of rooms, and that slightly sketchy charm that screams character. We figure, why not? It's got that retro vibe, and we're all about the spontaneous adventures. Little did we know, this night would become one for the books, but not the Instagram-worthy, picturesque kind. The motel room, while not exactly the lap of luxury, had this rustic charm that made it feel like home for the night. We kicked back, cracked open a couple of cold ones, and and settled in for what we hoped would be a peaceful night. Oh, how wrong we were. Somewhere between the buzzing of the neon sign and the occasional distant howl of a coyote, I get this uneasy feeling. You know, that sixth sense that something's off. It's dead silent, but not the peaceful kind of silent. I've got a bad feeling about this kind. Just as I'm about to chalk it up to an overactive imagination, I hear it. A noise that scares me a lot. Someone's messing with the door, trying to get in. Panic sets in, and I'm not gonna lie, my mind goes full action hero mode. No time to call the cops. It's just me, my best bud, and a shaky lock between us, and whatever the hell is happening out there. I glance at my friend, who's still half asleep and blissfully unaware of the impending chaos. Without thinking, I grab the closest thing that resembles a weapon, a vase from the table. In my head, I'm rehearsing my Braveheart speech, ready to go down swinging. The door's rattling now, and whoever's on the other side is not exactly a ninja. They're making a ruckus, probably thinking we're easy pickings. But no, not watch. Heart pounding, I inch closer to the door, vase at the ready, feeling like the protagonist of a B-list thriller. And just when I'm about to unleash my improvised vase attack, the door bursts open. Not gonna lie, I was ready to go full Hulk on whoever dared to mess with our night. But plot twist, it's not an intruder. It's this random dude from the neighboring room, eyes wide with panic. Before I can demand an explanation for the midnight wake-up call, the dude starts babbling about someone lurking around, trying to break into our rooms. Now, it's not just a solo intruder. We're dealing with a potential motel ninja squad. My best bud, now fully awake and probably wondering why he ever agreed to this road trip, springs into action. The three of us, armed with a vase, a half-empty beer bottle, and whatever the dude from the neighboring room managed to grab, start prowling the motel like a low-budget crime-fighting trio. It's like a scene from a ridiculous action comedy, only it's way too real for comfort. We round the corner, and there he is, the would-be intruder, looking more surprised than we are. In the dim glow of the flickering neon sign, we exchange a tense stare-off. He's got this deer-in-the-headlights look, like he stumbled into the wrong motel. And then, out of nowhere, this figure appears from the shadows. A motel staff member, wielding a broom like a medieval weapon. The dude makes a run for it, probably realizing he picked the wrong motel for his late-night shenanigans. Turns out, the staff guy saw the whole thing unfolding on the security cameras and decided to channel his inner superhero. As the intruder bolts into the darkness, our makeshift crime-fighting trio disperses, and the reality of the situation sinks in. We just thwarted a potential break-in, armed with a vase and a broom. The rest of the night is a blur of adrenaline-fueled laughter and a very awkward encounter with the motel staff, who now see us as the unsung heroes of their establishment. We get a half-hearted thank you and a discount on our next stay, as if we're ever coming back to this battleground of a motel. The next morning, as we hit the road once again, the events of the night before replay in my mind. It's the kind of story you'd expect to hear in a seedy bar or a sketchy motel, not the sort of tale you bring back from a road trip with your best bud. As we drive away from the motel, I can't help but chuckle. We might not have ended up with the peaceful night we hoped for, but then, did we get a story to tell. And in the grand scheme of things, isn't that what road trips are all about? The unexpected, the bizarre, and the kind of memories that make you question your life choices while simultaneously reveling in them. So, here's to the quirky motels, the impromptu crime-fighting duos, and vases that double as makeshift weapons. May our next adventure be just as ludicrous and, hopefully, a tad more relaxing. Thanks for listening in. If you like what you hear, then please like and subscribe and support this new channel. Until next time.